The following is an Infinity One Productions presentation, keeping it honest, insightful, interactive.
Coming up next on this special edition episode of the RCWR Show, exclusively for YouTube, yours truly, the Black Avenger, Lee Sanders, just now coming in from the Verizon Center in Washington, D.C. to see the final episode of Raw in person, as we are just days away from WrestleMania 29 in New Rutherford, New Jersey. We're going to be covering the fallout from what all you might have missed on Monday night's historic episode of Raw, as it was a jam-packed card. We had got Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson in the house, CM Punk, John Cena, Undertaker, Brock Lesnar, Triple H, and did I mention a WWE Hall of Famer made his eagerly anticipated return? Give you a hint, we have not seen this person since last August. That is your one hint right there. It's the YouTube exclusive edition of the RCWR Show, covering the fallout from the final WWE Raw as it makes its way to WrestleMania. And it begins right now.
Covering the latest in wrestling and beyond. You're listening to the RCWR Show with your host, Lee Sanders.
Welcoming you to this YouTube exclusive edition of the RCWR Show. I am your host, as always, the Black Avenger, aka the Black Azrael, Lee Sanders. Thank you guys for checking out this episode late into Tuesday morning. It is 12:54 a.m. on April 2nd, 2013. Boys and girls, I am just fresh into coming in the house. I haven't even changed into my sleep clothes yet. I wanted to just kick on back and immediately share with you all my reaction to Raw, as I personally have went down to the Verizon Center in Washington, D.C. Has some damn good front row seats to check out the event. Now, for those of you that may be wondering what's going on with pictures, well, as soon as this episode is done, uploaded to YouTube, basically by the time you guys will hear this, pictures will be available on our Facebook page over at Infinity One Productions. I tried to take as many shots as I could, but unfortunately, I came a little bit unprepared to this event. I did not have a backup fully charged battery for my camera, and as a result of that, I pretty much had only got about, I believe, maybe about 2 hours worth of raw footage. I unfortunately didn't get to take any pics of Triple H, Shawn Michaels, The Rock. I might have to check in with the lovely co-producer Tammy, who was also with me for this event, and she's going to probably be sharing her experience about the Raw event this Tuesday night on our Wrestling Report edition of the RCWR Show. So for those of you that may be a little bit curious what she thought of the event, you guys are definitely more than welcome to check that out. I don't know if she'll do a whole episode with us, because she has a pretty hectic schedule right now, and plus she's also going to be making her rounds with me and co-host Diamond K on Sunday's Post Show covering WrestleMania 29, but I'm pretty sure we could at least get her for a couple of minutes on Tuesday night to share her overall experience of Raw. But in the meantime, let's talk about what had went down. It's the final Raw before WrestleMania. You know, there was a couple of sweet spots that I had enjoyed about Raw tonight. Now, one of the matches that we had saw off the break, we had saw Jinder Mahal, Drew McIntyre, and Heath Slater in action as they had took on Randy Orton, Big Show, and Sheamus. My God, this is like, what, the third, fourth time that we've seen these guys lock it up. I was quite bored as soon as this match had came on. I mean, first guys I saw come out was three-man band, and I automatically said sarcastically to myself, as well as to a couple other people that were around me that could hear me within the earshot. Shout out to you guys too, because I actually had a couple of people chuckling off and on throughout the night. Basically it was, gee, I wonder who these guys are going to be taking on tonight. And sure enough, we see Randy Orton, we see Sheamus, And we see Big Show. No-brainer right there that this was going to be a W for them. What was really awesome, though, was hearing the music of The Shield after we saw Big Show, Sheamus, Orton pick up the victory, and everybody just in the arena was just looking all around, trying to figure out, where's the Shield? Where are they coming from? Where are they? And sure enough, they were about, my God, I think they were like about maybe 12 feet away from me, and I was just trying to scrounge around and grab my camera, but like everybody was just standing up and just taking pictures of them. It was pretty awesome. You know, the promo that they had cut, it was pretty weak. I mean, that whole, oh, you guys have tried to prove that you all can coexist as a team, but we're going to prove this Sunday at WrestleMania. It's nothing more than a facade. Wow, 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 wow. I'm thinking to myself, come on, guys. Y'all just gonna come out. You're just gonna talk. You all aren't gonna do what you guys usually do, which is attack people like a pack of wolves. Well, maybe if Big Show wasn't in the ring, it would be a different story. But for this particular segment, I really didn't care too much about it. I would have preferred to see action rather than talk. That's just me. Moving right along, we had saw Daniel Bryan in action against Dolph Ziggler. And we saw from Dolph Ziggler's side, he had AJ Lee and he had Big E Langston in his corner. Daniel Bryan, he only had Kane in his corner. I actually had enjoyed this match quite a bit. It was definitely a very technical match. It was one of those matches that it's so funny, you know, we really take it for granted, I think, but to see what we're able to see on TV and then to actually be able to see the match with just your own eyes in person, it's two completely different experiences. I mean, you look at it on the TV to have it be more sensationalized, but to actually have it play out before your eyes, I truly an experience in itself, especially with this type of match. We actually saw Dolph Ziggler pick up the victory with a little bit of help from AJ Lee and Big E Langston. As remember, folks, we're supposed to be seeing Team Hell No defend those WWE tag titles against Big E Langston and Dolph Ziggler. Coming up, we had got to see the one and only WWE Hall of Famer. You know, I teased you with it at the very beginning there. Mr. WrestleMania himself, the Heartbreak Kid, Shawn Michaels. Remember, we hadn't seen him since last August, leading up into the SummerSlam match between his best friend Triple H and Brock Lesnar. Remember, Brock Lesnar had broke HBK's arm, and we pretty much had not seen him since that point. And it was a really, really freaking awesome treat to get Shawn Michaels in the Verizon Center. I mean, it was just like, it just really came off like an old school episode of Raw. That's just really how it was coming off. Of course, we heard the rumblings that HBK was probably going to get involved in this storyline this time around. And sure enough, we got him live and in the flesh. Shawn Michaels cutting a very passionate promo about his friend Triple H, realizing that there is a lot that is at stake right here, and he doesn't like the odds, as he tells Triple H, who does come out to confront Shawn, hey, Shawn, don't try to talk me out of this. You know, I'm not going to change my mind. I'm going to go through with this. And Shawn Michaels tells Triple H, if you think for 1 second I'm here after 364 days to talk you out of it, on the contrary, I'm here to tell you to do what you got to do. I want you to beat Brock Lesnar's ass this Sunday. And Triple H, he was loving that. He appreciated getting that seal of approval. Leave it to Shawn Michaels, though, to really try to help drive this match between Triple H and Brock Lesnar right on home. I mean, the passionate speech that he gave about how Brock Lesnar doesn't give a damn about Triple H. He doesn't respect him. He doesn't respect the WWE universe. He doesn't respect anybody. All he cares about is those dollar bills. That's all that makes sense to him, literally. And, we see Shawn Michaels telling Triple H, this guy is nothing like the Undertaker, who retired him a couple of years back. And Shawn Michaels pointing out how Undertaker, he didn't rub it all in the WWE Universe's face or in Shawn Michaels' face that he beat him. And for that, he respects the hell out of Undertaker, just as he knows that Undertaker respects him. And pointing out how Brock Lesnar just doesn't have any of that in him to display towards Hunter. And so Shawn really wants for Triple H to dig down deep, and after the two had their little exchange of words, getting on the same page, looked like it was about to end on a DX note saying, "Got 2 words for you." Where those 2 words were Brock Lesnar, as the Beast himself, along with manager Paul Heyman, had come out, and we saw Paul Heyman. Bear in mind, this was first of 2 appearances that he had made during the course of the night, which the latter was very explosive and very controversial. I'm giving you guys a heads up right now. You may be red-faced and beyond pissed off when you hear what Paul Heyman did to close out the show. But we saw Paul Heyman with his client, Brock Lesnar, come on out, and Paul Heyman really rubbing it in Hunter's face that come this Sunday, Brock Lesnar is the one that's going to defeat him and humiliate him, as he will no longer have a wrestling career. He will no longer have that executive position that he has in the company. Everything is just going to be over for him. Really just pushing that envelope there, trying to get into the head of Triple H. Well, we see Triple H, he's just ready to get it on. He wants to fight. He actually does the suck it gesture to Brock Lesnar. Nice little pop from the crowd as they had just ate that up big time. Other action that we had saw on Raw tonight, we saw the one and the only Wade Barrett in action as he had took on and defeated Zack Ryder. We did have Miz at ringside during this match, as there was a little bit of an exchange of words between Wade Barrett and Miz briefly, but nothing out of the ordinary to a point where Miz had tried to attack Barrett. Nothing like that. Barrett was able to focus on his match without any problems. Backstage segment, we were talking about him last week on the RCWR show. You know who we're talking about, Santino Marella. Remember, we had put out there, where's Santino? Be kind of nice to see him again. Well, we got our wish, as he popped up in a backstage segment to try to play a April Fool's prank on Brad Maddox and Vicky Guerrero, saying that he saw the chairman of the board himself, Vincent Kennedy McMahon, who looked as if he had a pissed off look on his face. And with a look like that, it can only mean one thing: somebody is getting fired. Well, we saw Brad Maddox, Vicky Guerrero, they just had this petrified look on their face, trying to figure out between the two of them who was probably going to get in trouble by the chairman of the board. And then Santino Marella revealed April Fools. Well, they made Santino pay for it big time, as we saw him in a match against the Silverback. That's what I do! Hall of Pain himself, Mark Henry, squash match. I mean, my God, we see Mark Henry just come from behind the back there, the gorilla position, and he's just doing that nice slow walk down the ramp, just prowling like a freaking Black Panther, just getting ready to just test out the meat he's about to eat, and then wham, he just sinks right into it. I mean, Mark Henry just ate up Santino. Poor Santino. A little bit of comic relief in there in the opening bout, but Santino, he did not last that long. Couple of little cheap kicks and a little punch to the face or slap to the face, and that was pretty much all Santino had in him, as this match ended in about 90 seconds. But immediately after the match, we saw Ryback come out, and Mark Henry was quick to tell him, look, I know you want to get your hands on me. I want to put my hands on you, but we have that clause in our contracts. We can't put our hands on one another until Sunday at WrestleMania. So, you're going to have to wait, just like I'm going to have to wait. We see Mark Henry taking advantage of that, tries to leave out of the ring. Ryback, he picks up a weakened Santino Marella and actually bumps him into the back of Mark Henry, which sent Mark Henry flying off the apron. And then Mark Henry, as he tried to regroup, we see Ryback just toss Santino over the ropes onto Mark Henry. That sent Henry crashing back first onto the hard floor. And that was pretty much it for that respected segment right there. Later on, we ended up seeing Jack Swagger in action. Somewhat in action, as it was really Zeb Coulter taking on Alberto Del Rio. Now, I want to just give you guys a tease of just how in-depth we're going to be going on our Tuesday Night Wrestling report of the RCWR show. I don't know what, for those of you that might have been watching at home, I don't know what you guys might have been hearing as you were watching this particular segment. But I can honestly tell you with 100% sincerity, okay? And as much as I sometimes do not like this new babyface, Alberto Del Rio, I give him his props where it is due. But on this night, at least in the nation's capital, folks, at the Verizon Center, Alberto Del Rio barely had any chance going for him. I mean, this guy came out and nobody really gave a flying hoot about this man. I mean, it was like, my God, I was just amazed. Jack Swagger had more of a reaction. Zeb Coulter had more of a reaction than Alberto Del Rio did. My God, even Ricardo Rodriguez had a reaction more than what Alberto Del Rio got. I bullshit you not. Alberto Del Rio hardly got any reaction. I don't know, but if I'm WWE upper management, I'm chilling in the back and I'm seeing this, I can't help but kind of wonder if this is the main trend that has been happening since Del Rio has been champion. Because if so, my God, as much as some of you all may not like the idea of Jack Swagger becoming World Heavyweight Champion again, at least the man is getting a freaking reaction. It very well could happen this Sunday, but I just want to tease you guys with that, and I just want to definitely go on record and put that out there, because you know how WWE is sometimes. They like to try to pump in crowd noises to try to get somebody over, but it was dead as hell for practically like the whole time that this guy was out. Any reactions that were going on, it was for Zeb Coulter, Jack Swagger, and we didn't even really see this match go down, because basically what ended up happening was we saw Jack Swagger. He got involved. You knew he wasn't going to let Zeb Coulter just ride solo in this, and basically this match had ended in a DQ in favor of Alberto Del Rio, as we ended up seeing Jack Swagger, Zeb Coulter. They took Ricardo Rodriguez crutches, and after they finished beating him up, they just went to work on the body of Alberto Del Rio. I mean, he has some really nice red welts all over his body too. It's freaking ridiculous. It was the moment that really had woke up the crowd at the Verizon Center. Of course, I'm talking about the WWE champion, Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson, the Brahma Bull, who came on out, and he had a very passionate speech talking about how it is he that is able to connect with the crowd, and because of that connection, they are able to do the things that they are able to do, that together they can make anything be possible. And this was The Rock's way of really kind of setting the pace here for his match against John Cena this Sunday at WrestleMania, as Rock basically said that, Cena isn't facing The Rock this Sunday. He's going to be facing the millions and millions of The Rock's fans. And that Rock basically said that he lives for that connection with the fans. And that Cena can't deny the will of the people, as he just can't beat The Rock. And the fans, they were just really eating into the words that The Rock was saying. I mean, they were just hanging on his every word. I mean, it was just really magnifying. It truly was electrifying. I forget how this man is in person when you actually see him at a WWE live event. I mean, this guy just oozes of electricity. And, the whole thing that I had really loved about this, out of all the superstars, as Raw was on the air, Rock had to have been the only guy that actually tried to make sure that everybody was able to get an opportunity to get a good look at him. Basically, to kind of quote Edge and Christian, for those, for the benefit of those with flash photography, for that pose. Rock was, I mean, from the moment that he came out and he went to the left of the stage area, then he came on over to the right. Even after he got done cutting his promos in the ring tonight, I mean, he went into all four sections of the turnbuckle. He almost forgot the last one, but we were able to read his mouth. He actually said, I forgot you guys. And he actually came over, did his little pose. He held it. Everybody was able to get their little pictures in and everything. I mean, great freaking moment right there. Of course, this was better than the way Raw had opened up, which was with none other than John Cena. And I know I kind of went out of order there, but I just wanted to give you guys the good stuff first. I didn't want to kick it off with a bad note. And I'm sorry, but the John Cena segment that we had got to open up Raw, I mean, my God, 15 minutes of talk that will never, ever get back again. I mean, this guy was just want, and I mean, the fans. My God, I haven't watched the Raw episode yet. I do have it on the DVR. I can't wait to see how they edit the heck out of the crowd reactions for Cena. But from where I was sitting, I mean, there was mostly boos for John Cena. A lot of people in attendance, a lot of Rocky fans. There was a lot of folks that was wearing Just Bring It t-shirts, boot the asses. There was barely that many John Cena memorabilia gear running around on folks. If it was on young teenage girls. It was on little boys. I saw a couple of middle-aged women wearing the Cena gear, but it was mostly little teen girls and little boys that was wearing his gear. And man, I'm just amazed at the amount of money that is spent on some of these kids when it comes to that Cena gear. I mean, you think about the hat, you think about the one wristband, then the two wristbands, then the T-shirt. Then you're probably going to get them a little cup with John Cena and all that. It's mad money right there, man. We already talking about triple digits almost. Ridiculous, man. But 15 minutes that I couldn't get back. And to see the way The Rock was just able to come out, literally do the same thing, but he had the people in the palm of his hands. That's just freaking amazing for me. And he talked for about the same length. We saw a interesting match between Chris Jericho and Antonio Cesaro. This was a match that I found myself kind of paying attention more to the way it was playing out on the Titantron, because when I was actually watching the match in, the action in the ring, I don't know, I just couldn't really get into it. I just kind of felt a little bored watching it, and that's usually not like me to say that about a Chris Jericho Antonio Cesaro match. I love both of the guys, but I just thought it was kind of weird seeing it play out in the middle of the ring. It felt more interesting to watch on the Titantron. And it was kind of actually good that I was watching on the Titantron because I saw quietly Fandango's gold little curtain get lowered, and then we see him come out and he's got those awesome little cards and he's actually rating Chris Jericho's match. And man, did he get a little too cocky because he got a little too close to the ring. And Chris Jericho, he let that boy have it big time. And from there, Chris Jericho, he actually was able to get the win on Antonio Cesaro with the Walls of Jericho. And, my heart just goes out to Antonio Cesaro, man. I mean, this guy just continues to get buried week after week after week. I mean, he's just lost in the shuffle. You thought that maybe he was going to be one of the centerpieces for main event. That's not even going on. I'm hoping at least this guy is going to be able to make some type of a impromptu appearance at WrestleMania this weekend. That really would kind of justify the crap that he's been in so far. I've said it before, I'll say it again. It'd be nice to see him get into some type of a singles match with Santino Marella for that U.S. title. But, Jericho wasn't able to celebrate his victory that long as Fandango had quickly got in the ring and he just jumped on Chris Jericho and he ended up delivering 2 high leg drops from the top turnbuckle, just left Jericho laid out. It was funny too because the fans, they were chanting, "You can't wrestle! You can't wrestle!" And it was like as soon as he went up to the top turnbuckle the first time to deliver the leg drop, that pretty much has shut up the crowd. And then when he did it again, the fans just really started hating his guts then. But freaking solid moment right there. Cameron and Naomi, they were in action as they had took on the Bella Twins. That was some pretty good action right there. There was actually surprisingly a couple of boring chants. I don't think the guys could appreciate the fact that hot women were in the ring doing their thing. I actually had enjoyed this match, and I'm not bullshitting you guys. I actually thought this match was pretty damn good. Of this one, we actually saw the Bella Twins pick up the victory. Talk about the most controversial segment of the night as we saw Undertaker come on out and he gets in the middle of the ring. I mean, it was such an eerie feeling when Undertaker had came out and the lights just went off, and it was just an eerie feeling, but it was very exciting. And then to just feel the flames of his pyro just poof. I welcomed it because it was actually quite cold, and I don't know, maybe I should have had my sweater on, but I was actually quite cold as I was kicking back, and I was seeing Undertaker come out. I'm like, yeah, keep those pyros going, because I was getting really nice and toasty by his damn pyro. But Undertaker, he gets in the ring, and he tells Undertaker that he's pretty much sealed his fate, and that his historic title reign that lasted well over 400 days, well, that's all fine and dandy, but when it comes to what he did to disgrace the memory of his good friend and manager, William Paul Bearer Moody, Taker says, yeah, defeating at Punk at WrestleMania is just not gonna be good enough, because the disrespect Paul has shown Paul Bearer is going to cost him the ultimate price. And to that, Taker basically told CM Punk that, yeah, Punk, he may be right that the streak may be close to coming to an end on Sunday because of the current state of mind that he's in. But Taker goes on record and says that Punk will never live to talk about the streak ending. And from there, we just see the lights go out and we see these druids come on out with torches as we're wondering what the heck is going on right here. And then all of a sudden, we hear Paul Bearer's famous, "Oh, yes!" And we're thinking to ourselves, uh-oh, what's going on here? And it looks like Paul Bearer is alive and well as he just comes on out with the urn in hand, and you're kind of like, Paul Bearer, what the hell is going on here? But then you kind of realize, wait a minute, Paul Bearer's shirt is out. Isn't it usually tucked in? What's going on here? Turns out the Paul Bearer we were looking at was none other than Paul Heyman. And Undertaker was just pissed. He took off his robe and he just ran right down to the ring almost. I mean, he kind of walked pretty fast, but you might as well kind of say he was running. Definitely was no limping in his stepping, let me tell you. And then he kind of had this sick feeling that CM Punk was close by. So he started attacking one of the druids. Turns out that wasn't Punk, but Punk was actually the next guy across from the man that Taker was attacking. And we just see CM Punk, he just gets to jump on the Undertaker. He has the advantage the whole time as he's just going to Undertaker's body and his head with that urn. And to add more insult to injury, we see CM Punk open up the urn and just pour ashes all over the Undertaker, rubs those ashes all over his body. The crowd just really ate this up. They booed the hell out of CM Punk, while at the same time you had those that were actually cheering on for the former voice of the Voiceless. Oh, I mean, I'm really looking forward to this match this Sunday, the Streak versus Respect. I'm really looking forward to this. I mean, they've just been telling a phenomenal story. And I know once again, here is another case where they are just continuing to push those buttons of the WWE universe. They definitely sent people home talking. And I want to share with you guys that as Raw had went off the air, the action continued as we got to see a dark match. We got to see the Shields, Dean Ambrose, Seth Rollins, and Roman Reigns. They were in action as they had took on John Cena, Ryback, and Sheamus. And that was a damn good six-man match. It only lasted about maybe 5-7 minutes. Because I know Raw usually goes off for us watching it on TV. It usually goes off at like about maybe 11:09, 11:10. Well, this match, it came on at like about 11:13, I think, 11:14. And it didn't end until about 11:25, 11:26, and of that dark match, bonus match for those of us that were, in attendance still. The winners of that, it was actually John Cena, Ryback, and Sheamus. What was really funny though was post match, we saw this guy. He wanted John Cena to sign his WWE spinner belt. And we see John Cena, he's like acting like such a dick. He actually goes over to the fan and he throws up the "you can't see me" gesture. And he's like laughing at him. And then he's walking away and he's like giving everybody else high fives and all that. And we see the guy, he's kind of like a little heartbroken. He's kind of like, damn, that's kind of messed up, And we see John Cena, he goes back over. And the guy's trying to pitch to him again, hey, come on, man, sign my belt, man. Come on, sign it. And we see Cena, he does the next best thing. He puts his arm around this guy, and somebody actually takes a picture. And then the guy tries again. He's like, come on, man, sign my belt, sign my belt. And, finally we see John Cena signed the belt, and that just kind of made me smile a little bit. It was like, okay, well, I guess John Cena isn't that much of a dick after all. I mean, I kind of can feel where he's coming from, the resistance of signing it, because Lord knows that daggone belt was probably going to get put on eBay. So that's probably why he might have been a little bit hesitant at first, but I think it was just kind of nice that he kind of went on ahead and just said, what the hell, fuck it. And he just signed the belt anyway. And Sheamus was really awesome because after the match was over, Sheamus, he had actually came very close to the section over where we were. And he was giving folks high fives and all that. And he right before he went to the back, he came very close to going to the back, but then he hurried up, turned right back around, ran, and then he slid down the ramp with his arms wide open, doing his little Irish flexion muscle pose, and then he went on ahead and took himself to the back. But it was a pretty awesome experience going to the DC area to see Raw. The final Raw at that, as now all eyes are set on WrestleMania. And folks, there is your Raw review. Scale of 1 to 10, and keeping in mind that I was actually at the event, I would have to give Raw a very respectable 7 out of 10. I thought that maybe there was some spots that they could have went without, but overall I thought it was a well-produced episode. It was nice seeing all the old guys back. I mean, God, only one person was missing, and that was probably Vince McMahon. But despite that, it just really felt so freaking nostalgic watching Raw tonight. And, we're definitely going to go more in depth about my personal experience being at Raw earlier tonight. You definitely want to make sure you check out the Tuesday Night Wrestling Report edition of the RCWR Show. It's going to air at 11 p.m. Eastern over at blogtalkradio.com/the RCWR Show. And just a heads up, later on today, as it is Tuesday, later on today, make sure you hop on over to our website over at infinityOneProductions.com, as now you'll be able to purchase RCWR Show t-shirts. I repeat, Tuesday, later on, just a handful of hours, you will be able to purchase the RCWR Show t-shirts. Shipping is on us, as shipping is free. And as I said, as you guys are listening to this episode right now, pictures from the Raw event should be uploaded for your viewing pleasure. So go on ahead, check it out. We'll also make it be available on our Twitter page over at Infinity One Prod and over at the RCWR Show. Hey, the talk of wrestling may end right here, but do yourself a favor and make sure that you check out some of the other great content that we have up on our YouTube channel. We had a really solid weekend edition of the RCWR Show, as I did an exclusive interview with progressive rock/metal vocalist Tanya Medina of the rock band Tanandra. You definitely want to check that out. If you like Courtney Love, Hole, Kitty, a little bit of Tina Turner, Jada Pinkett Smith when she was pushing her little rock band, you'll definitely will like Tanya Medina, and you'll like her band Tanandra. Some really good shit. Go backtrack, check out the interview, and check out the weekend edition of the RCWR Show we did. And to get yourself ready for WrestleMania weekend, we have a special episode of the RCWR Show that's up right now. It's our match prediction special. Go check that out and listen to me and Diamond K offer our match predictions for winners at this Sunday's pay-per-view. And be sure to comment and share your picks on who you think is going to be walking away victorious. Any surprises you think might be in store for Sunday. And if you're spot on, we'll show you some love as we go on the air for our post show this Sunday. And if you plan on checking out WrestleMania 29, make sure that you call into our post show at 646-478-3525, as immediately, soon as WrestleMania 29 goes off the air, we will immediately come on and you'll be able to call in, get your thoughts heard live right on the air. Share your thoughts about the pay-per-view, whether you liked it or you disliked it, if it was a pass or a fail. All right, guys, so that's going to do it for now, but I'll see you along with co-host Diamond K for the RCWR show in just a handful of hours at 11 p.m. Eastern, right on over at blogtalkradio.com/the RCWR show. For all other episodes that you might have missed, be kind, rewind, check us out in the iTunes and Stitcher marketplaces. Episodes available for all your respectable portable devices and portable devices. Use the keywords, the RCWR show. Everybody, be safe and be kind to one another, folks. See you next time. Do take care.